Hi, and welcome to another X-Wing Store Championship match. Today's game was held on the 8th of July, 2017 at Night Watch Games in San Antonio. This is the last game, the fourth game of Swiss, right before the cut. Today's match has Gene from the 512 Squadron up in Austin versus Ryan. Gene is running a 4-ship Rebel build. He has the ever-present Biggs with Jess, the T70 build that allows you to reroll dice with friendly ships close by. Braylen, the ARC 170 that has turned itself into a little stress spot, and Rex for some damage control. Ryan is running the World Championship list, Dengar until Trevera. This list has become very prevalent as of late because of its effectiveness and its ease of play. It's a very easygoing list for newer players and veterans alike. Very deadly list with 2 large base ships with 9 hit points each, K4 security droid and unhinged for lots of target locks, and extra munitions for a lot of damage. Both ships are coming in at a pilot skill of 9, and Dengar is equipped with expertise. We begin the match with Ryan on the left side of the screen and Gene on the right side. They're both going to open up here. Gene is opted to start the match on the top half of the board, and Ryan has started in the middle, which is probably not typical when you consider the majority of his list revolves around the K4 security droid, taking the target locks and his green maneuvers. His list really requires him to go to the left a lot, and in this particular position, he's gonna, if he's not careful, he's gonna close himself off pretty quickly. And it looks like Gene is set up to try to capitalize on that. Right now, he's set up for it pretty well, especially with Ryan starting in the center of the board. That's only going to give Ryan half the board to work with, depending on how Gene engages. Opening turn 1, Gene will move all of his ships first. The muscle of Gene's list, it's a very defensive list, but it being that he has 4 ships firing, and if he could focus all those on one target, that's up to 11 red dice in one swing, depending on who he gets an arc. Looks like he's going to open up with a couple 2 straights here. One likely focusing. I don't know that any of his... He wants to keep his formation. I don't know that any of his ships have... Well, I guess the TIE Fighter would have a barrel roll and the T-70 would have a boost, but it looks like he's opting to keep everybody in formation. Now, Ryan's going to open up with Dengar first. He's going to take a 2-turn towards the top of the map. That's a little, you'd probably consider a little non-traditional. A lot of players, I've never played the 2. I don't play the Jumpmaster a lot. It's become very trendy, and so I've stayed away from it myself, but a lot of players will tell you, to fly it effectively, you have to have a slow approach. Let your opponents make the first mistakes. Flying it in quickly, especially considering all of Ryan's best moves are on the left-hand side. You really want your opponent to commit to you, and it looks like he's committing rather quickly to combat. Now, what this is, it's a little hard to see from this angle, but depending on what they pick next, and it looks like Gene's already setting up for his next moves, Gene could close the gap probably pretty quickly with a 3 straight. And I think even 1 slights or 1 straights would put him into combat in this next round, which would favor Gene. Again, if the faster he can push into that corner of the map, the less likely or the less maneuverability Ryan's going to have to get his target locks off. And again, the majority of his muscle, especially from Tell, is going to come from the munitions. Looks like a 4 straight out. Could be. Okay. I was curious about what he was doing here. He did a 4 straight, which is a stress, I do believe. He'll take the stress and then perform he can as an action, or I guess it's not action. I haven't actually read the card, but he can get rid of that stress by rolling a dice, and it looks like that's what he might have done there. So it does look like Gene is engaged quickly. He's closed the gap very, very, very quickly, and what that's going to do is it's going to force Ryan into some maneuvers. So if Gene got into range 1 on anybody that he doesn't want dead, Ryan's not going to be able to fire his munitions at him. Now, of course, he does have Gene has Biggs, but Biggs is negated by munitions. Some people call that a nerf. It's not really a nerf, but well, I guess it's not as good as it used to be. But if Ryan target locks a different target, he can't fire his munitions at that target if he wants to take down a specific target first. I think conventional wisdom on a list like Gene's is that you do want to take down the stress spot first, especially considering Dengar has expertise on him. He doesn't want to get loaded down with stress, because if he does, he's not going to be able to, maximize the use of his list very much. Looks like Ryan's going to take another 2 turn here. That's going to put him right smack dab in combat. And the bad thing about that is that he can't take another action if he wants to get that munition off. He's gonna have to target lock if he wants to get that munition off. And then so he can't take his focus for defense or barrel roll out for a better position. Dell's gonna do a 3 bank towards Gene. That's gonna allow K4 security droid to activate. But again, it looks like he bumps here, and why that's not great for Tell is Tell doesn't have expertise. He has VI on him, and so the munition is really counting on the focus token to be most effective, and he's not going to have that. So by running into himself, this isn't forced by Gene. This is just maneuvering on Ryan's part. By running into himself like that, he has reduced his effectiveness. And it looks like he's going to fire with Tell first, and you'll see that here. So he rolled 1 focus and 1 blank, and so he only gets three dice out of the first torpedo shot. Gene's going to roll a focus here, and at first he spends that focus, but there's no point in spending that focus because that plasma torp's going to take an extra shield anyways. And so I think he just chooses to just take the 3 because it's the same. Actually, it's more beneficial for Gene not to spend the focus token because the damage is the same regardless if he spends it or not. So that should be 3 shields there off of Braylen on the first shot. Now Dengar's going to fire at the same target. Now this he's going to use his primary, and if that's the case, he actually has to shoot Biggs, but they let this one go. He's going to roll 4 hits on Braylen. Because if that's not a munition, which it's not because he didn't spend his target, like unless he just forgot to remove it, Braylen takes Gene must have rolled an evade because he took 3 damage there on 4 hits, and Gene got a crit out of it. Gene has those crit markers he put. I don't know what the crit is, but I think that's going to be a null point here. Biggs is taking, it looks like, the first shot at Dengar. Very interesting that Biggs is his hardest hitter out of power score 5, or his highest power score. Looks like he's going to roll 3 hits here, I believe. Let's see what the outcome of the roll is. Not quite sure what that is. Not sure what that was for. He's putting a shield on the table too. Oh, I guess maybe it's because he rolled 3 hits and he knew he was taking at least 1 damage. Looks like he rolled 2 blanks, so that should be 3 shields off of Dengar in the first shot. He's not going to return fire here. Maybe he's waiting for Braylen to shoot so they could take Braylen off the board. Rex is going to shoot next. Now, one thing that I didn't take into consideration when skimming through this fight was that Rex is going to put suppression on Tell, and that is going to be very, very detrimental to Ryan's ability to win, especially if Dengar goes down. Conventional wisdom, for me, I think, on this list, take Dengar down. If you take Dengar down, then all you have is a 2-dice ship. Well, if Gene plays this correctly, if he outmaneuvers Ryan here, he's gonna have a 1-dice ship to contend with. I mean, all he has to do is stay at arc. I know it's easier said than done, especially with the list, but it looks like Dengar's going down pretty quickly. To get a reroll off Jess here. Looks like I think he got at least 3 on the hit. Dengar's going to take 2 more shields, or the last of his shields at least, and 2 in the hole. So Dengar has 3 hit points left, and that is very, very doable for Braylen. I still think the smart move for Ryan would have been to get both those munitions off on Biggs if he could have. Take Biggs off the board so that you can prioritize your target. I know Braylen is tough, but not being able to shoot him in the next, especially where Ryan is not set up very well for the next turn, so it's going to be very difficult for him to get Biggs down, especially with that suppression on. So it looks like Braylen rolled 4 there, and that's a dead Dengar. Now, I do believe here Ryan chooses to use Dengar's return shot. That's the rest of Dengar there, so definitely uphill battle for. And see, and Ryan put himself in a bad position on an early joust when he had the advantage with his maneuverability. He really should have played the more open board a little more, because he has a turret, he has the way better dial, and he set Dengar up to take the blast. I guess he was probably assuming that Dengar, I guess he was assuming that Gene would probably opt not to shoot at Dengar because of the return shot. But here, Gene's going to lose Braylen, but Ryan's going to lose Dengar, and that's a trade-off in Gene's favor. That I would take that trade any day of the week, because Braylen's only there for control, and so, I mean, and obviously the majority of Gene's list is a control list, but the damage potential comes from Jess for the most part. Well, I mean, 4 ships shooting at you, yes, but Jess is the constant damage because of all the rerolls. So for him to lose his stress control when he has suppression on Tell, to take Dengar off the board is a phenomenal trade-off for Gene here. Again, speaking to the strength, we're going into turn 3, it looks like. Gene is going to... He's going to do some banks inward. Probably trying to tie up the lanes and get a couple of range 1 shots off on Tell. It's going to be a little bit of a slow going for Gene, because Rex isn't going to do a whole lot of damage. Unless, of course, he just rolls well, but... So the strength of the scum in general, are just a really strong spot, but this Tell Dengar list is very strong. What speaks to that is that looks like he's going to do a 1 bank here for the target lock. It's going to bump, but I believe is Ryan's a newer player. I think he might have started playing this year. I can't remember. I remember seeing him in some of our early tournaments. But this list is very difficult to contend with, even for veterans, because K4 security droid, munitions, free actions, expertise on Dengar, the constant built-in offensive focus. Ryan walked into this game at 3-1. Now, a couple of the games were very close, but that kind of speaks to its strength, because I don't remember who he played during the day, but it was definitely a 25-player match, so a lot of good lists on the board, and to be 3-1 with the lists is kind of speaks for itself. A lot of people speak to broken elements of the Jumpmaster, and there is a lot broken with it. The dial's phenomenal. The point cost is phenomenal. The upgrade capability is phenomenal, but the addition of expertise. Now, expertise is one of those. A lot of people are like, well, it's 4 points, but if you can get automatic rerolls, let's say you have not systems officer, but fire control system, a built-in reroll, and allows you to do whatever you want to with the other, play defensive with your other actions, and you have a built-in offensive focus. That's very, very, very potent. It's kind of a cornerstone of one of my lists that I played today on Han Solo with the built-in rerolls. Is that the guy rarely? I'd say out of every 100 rolls, I might not roll perfect 10 times, or 1 out of 10. Right? That's pretty good. Looks like Tel's going to lose a couple shields here. I believe that is his first damage. He's taking a barrage of beating from the ships. Tel fired first, but with a reduced, it's funny, with the reduced firepower, it's not going to be much. And having to shoot it looks like when he went in there, this is another, you can kind of tell. He target locked the TIE fighter, not understanding that he's going to have to shoot Biggs, and so now he has no modifications on Biggs. It was just a flat miss with 2 dice, and now on to the next round. Now Gene's winning this fight, hands down, and a lot of it is the misunderstanding of that misplaced target lock was just huge, and to misplace that when you only have 1 ship left is very detrimental when you're flying against a list like this. So really, Tel's down into 3-hull. Gene's gonna have to hit him a couple more times, get the kill shot, and then kill the rebound. But he's set up phenomenally to do so, especially if that suppression stays on. Do a couple of K turns here, so that he tries to keep Tel in front of him. But yes, the Scum is in a very good spot right now, and only getting better, and rightfully so. They were out of it for a long time before the Jumpmaster came around, but it does look like a lot of people are putting a lot of faith in the Rebels right now. I mean, truthfully, Empire is the only one that really has to get really lucky. Everything has to fall in place for Empire to win in big tournaments these days. Just too fragile. I played Connor Jackson in the last Door Championship, and it doesn't matter if you can shut down tokens, if you have auto thrusters, whatever it is. With the inclusion of the K4 security droid, all the stress control and expertise, where you don't even need the focus token anyways, it makes it very difficult to keep ships like that alive. And just to kind of show the extent of the degradation of the Empire. And of course, in the latest rounds of regionals, the defenders were great, and they're still good. They're still very good if you're running 3 of those, and of course the special forces. But I had played the defender in Connor Jackson the last regionals and did fairly well with it, and tried it again, and you just are put in terrible situations all too often. like Tails attacking here. He's going to reroll his 1 dice. And he's down to 1 dice. He has Biggs at further than range 1, and he's a 2-ship, two red dice ship. And again, so Brian's having to turn to the left here to get those target locks. And again, the positioning is it's just not a good spot for him to be in, because I mean, he has everything out of arc. It's going to take him a while to get everything back into arc. He's going to rely on that target lock a lot to get his damage through. And so he's constantly his stuff's going to be very predictable. Looks like Biggs might be shooting, maybe, or that could. No, that's Jess. Even though Jess stressed, she still has the built-in reroll, which is phenomenal for that chip. Gene has pattern analyzer on Jess, so he was allowed to take the focus before he applied the stress. There's a crit through. Not 100% sure what this crit is, but it is one where you can roll to get rid of it. In the next turn, Gene opting to go fast out of the gate to drop a stress. Not a lot of good maneuvers there for Gene. He's going to have to play defensive a little bit until he can get his ship turned back around. I listen to the guys on their podcast a lot, and I think Gene used to play swarms a lot. And this is a very swarmy type maneuver here. If don't jam yourself up. Keep your formation going, and if you have to play a little defensive by running off, go ahead and do that. And this is one of those. He could have very easily turned to the left, probably jammed himself up, and probably not had any shots from it. So he's choosing to go straight here, drop a stress, play defensive, take his tokens, and play for the next round or two. Especially considering Tell has not been doing any damage, and is not. None of Gene's ships are really in danger of dying, so he can do this all day long. I think a smart move for Ryan here, if he barrel rolled back and towards the top of the map, he's getting rid of his crit here. I'm not sure what the crit was. It might have been you couldn't do any actions except for actions on this card, so. There's Ryan's 1 dice. Must have rolled a hit. And entering into the next turn. Gene's still playing the long game here. I'm going to take a 3 bank towards him, and that's going to put him in position to K-turn the next round. And again, because even if Tell gets another munition off, he's not going to kill Biggs, and he's going to take a killing blow here soon. He doesn't have very many hit points left, and if Gene scores a good hit, he could take him down in his first round of combat once he gets himself turned around. Looks like Biggs ran into Jess there. So Ryan's checking for the target lock, checking to see if he can get that shot. Now he can do this because you can check for a target lock, because you can reacquire a target lock with the K4 security droid, and so it is more beneficial for him to move that target lock. So he's gonna Use one of his munitions, probably his second one, I do believe. And it looks like he rolled 2 hits of focus and a blank again. You can get a little enthusiastic with his dice rolls. What do we have going on here? Okay, so Gene has the droid that allows you to take stress to reduce a shot. I believe what he did here, I think you can reduce it until you have 2 damage remaining. He reduced that shot down by 2, took 2 damage, and it was only shields. And so Big still has his hull on and his Andrew's astromech on his X-wing. Gotta get a K-turn here from Rex. Now Rex again, all he needs to do is keep on shooting at a target, and it's gonna be tough for Tell to do anything. He's just not gonna do. I mean, it's just not gonna happen. Again, Gene can take the focus here from Pattern Analyzer. Now, because he took the stress, Biggs is gonna have to stay straight, but that's what Biggs is there for, to get shot at. So if he goes down, no big deal. There's still 2 ships on the board. And I reduce a very hindered Tell. Just need to go 1 straight here. Or 2 straight, looks like. He's behind the debris cloud. I think I would keep trying to work on... I think I would try to stay out of range 3 of Rex and try to take Biggs off the board. So even it wouldn't be ideal, but even if you did barrel roll backwards here so that you made sure that you didn't take that very crippling shot. And then the next round, because you know Biggs is going to have to go straight, so and then the next round after that you could try to run yourself into Rex so he couldn't shoot you and get suppression on and get another shot on, another chance of taking Biggs down before. See, he barrel rolled sideways. He didn't go backwards, and I don't know. It's hard to tell from this angle if Rex has a shot or not, but. And then again, this is what's tough about. This is why I don't really care for the list too much. Tell 2 dice just not going to do enough damage. So once Dengar's down, oh, I mean it is a good list, obviously, but oh, and he's going to get the shots here. So Rex is going to be able to get suppression on. It's going to be tough. See, that's where I think that barrel roll backwards would have been better. But again, Tell is again, like I said, the players who are good, or the players who have effectively used this list for a lot of wins, seem to have the opinion that castling it, waiting for your opponent to overshoot or placing in a bad position is more beneficial. Gene rolling hot. I think he rolls 2 hits here. I'll take 2 more damage. I think that's gonna kill, or be the first death of Tell. Yeah. Let's see. And Ryan counts him out whenever the death shot. There he goes. So Ryan's taking the first death shot for Tell, and then he's going to rebound. That leaves 1 shot. So next round he's still suppressed. Rex is going to still have another shot. All Gene has to do is 1 straight, essentially, and a 2 straight with Rex, maybe even a 2 bank in. Of course, Biggs is still going to be going straight. Tell can't do like a 2 straight. He'd be sitting on. So he's going to have to like 1 bank in or something like that. He could go fast and try to bump. He could go like 4 straight maybe. But, you know, anything other than that's going to be very difficult for him. It's still going to stick him in position to get shot, so let's see what they do here. Yeah, so Gene does a 2 straight here. What's good about this is, depending on what, and it's probably a 1 straight out of Jess, I would assume. But depending on what Ryan does, he could get stuck in a position where he is bumping. And it looks like Jess went a little quick. He's gonna bump here. Or maybe not. Yeah, it looks like a bump there, and then Biggs 2 straight, probably take a focus. Might give Ryan the chance to go after Rex. Maybe not, but and that might be his best opportunity. Even, well, no, he's suppressed. He'd only be rolling 2 dice even at range 1. He's out of munitions, so unless maybe a 4 straight run under Jess and then no shot from Rex, but I still think that large base might still be behind him. We'll see here. Yeah, see 3 straight. Yeah, looks like he's gonna run into him. Maybe. If he made that, that's not great because Jess can still shoot, and Jess is a 4 dice ship with rerolls. Taking the target lock. And the focus. Okay, so it looks like he didn't run into him, so still suppressed, still only going to be 2 dice, but that means Jess is going to get a range 1 shot. Those poor 2 dice. I've played this list a couple times, and when Dengar's down and tells shooting 2 dice at you, I just feel bad for him. Here comes the defensive roll from Biggs. They both go through, maybe. He's not spending his focus, it looks like. He could choose to ditch his astromech. I think at this point it's a mute point. I think Jess is going to finish the game here. I couldn't imagine he would miss with 2 rerolls. I mean, it obviously could happen. Here comes Jess. If that's more than 2, oh, there he goes. If that's more than 2 hits, that's game over. Might not be. There might be some focuses. Like 1 of 8 on the table. Yep, that's game. Alright, well, this was, again, like I said, this was round 4 of the Swiss. This is right before the cut. Gene's going to go in the first place position at 4-0. He's going to put his he's going to put his 5-1-12 squadron calling cards out. We appreciate those guys coming down. It's always good to have people come in from other cities. We had some guys from College Station down. That was good to see. Good to see the variations in lists and everything. But anyways, thanks again to those guys coming down. It was him and Derek, I believe, from the 5-1-12. Gene with the win against Ryan from San Antonio against the World Championship list. Thanks for watching.